Hi, my name is Kenna Flugel, and I would like to thank every person that had a hand in making this campaign possible. Of course, I want to thank you, the wonderful residents of Milford Village, for being here and for caring about this town as much as I do. It means so much that all of you think that I am worthy enough for this position as Councilwoman of Milford Village, Michigan. To those of you who don't know me, I am a resident of Milford and have been for my entire life. I remember playing in this town down on Main Street during Milford Memories or on the play structure in Central Park with probably a lot of your children. I know that I'm young, the age of your children probably even younger, but I stand here today with Milford's best interest at heart, and to me, that ideal has no age. Whether you're 18, 48, or 88, what matters is that this great village gets the best council it has ever seen to run this town the way it should be run. When I am on this council, you will see the changes and see the traditions kept that you want to see kept. For my age is an advantage. I can go out and talk to people and see what they want to be done in our community, which I have done extensively. I hear what the residents of Milford are talking about and complaining about. All of you know it and so do I, so let's talk about it. The newest tax for our town, coming to a vote on November 4th, is the tax to fund restorations of the fire station. Now, as most of you know, the fire station is extremely outdated. The front doors are too small for the fire trucks to fit through. Training is held in the parking bays. Firefighters who spend the night must bunk in tiny makeshift sleeping quarters. There are no lockers or storage areas, and there's barely room to conduct safety inspections on trucks and doors. This 54-year-old building is in great need of renovations. Let me tell you a story about the fire station. When I was in high school, one of my best friend Jessica's father was the chief of the station. Well, they were training recruits and needed volunteers to be victims for their mock accidents and crashes. Jessica asked the drama club, which I was a part of, to be the victims of this exercise, and of course I wanted to help out. So we got to the station on a rainy Saturday, got gruesome makeup all over our bodies. My friend Sean actually had a stick through his stomach, and we helped those young men train. This was great fun while we were doing it, but the fire station was a disaster. It wasn't big enough for anything, and the entire place was just completely outdated. To me, it was sad to see that these men who were there to save our lives, should anything go wrong, were in such horrible conditions. I know that the people of Milford are better than that, and they care too much about families to let these great men stay in shabby beds and not even be able to conduct safety inspections indoors. Now, I know that another tax is the last thing that people want. Believe me, I am a college student. I also know that these changes need to happen and that the fire station needs to be reconstructed. The design calls for using the existing building for administration, training, storage, and meetings. The meeting room would also be available for community functions. A 2-story addition would be constructed off the east side of the building with 4 bays for vehicles and a decontamination area on the lower level, and living quarters, locker rooms, and storage on the upper level. That sounds like a lot, but the expenses could be almost completely paid for without more taxes of the people. Here are some things you didn't know about the current Milford Council. Since 2002, the Township Board has increased its pay by 20%, when originally Milford Village pay remained constant at a whopping $7.50 a meeting since before 1995. Since 2003, the Township has authorized the expenditure of up to $3,000 every year to have a dinner party for themselves and Township Board volunteers. Usually, Milford Village has an annual dinner for employees and volunteers that consists of pizza in the village offices and costs less than $200. Lastly, the Township still contributes an additional 15% of new employees' pay into a retirement plan with no required match from the employee. Milford Village has adopted the State of Michigan plan, which caps our contribution at a maximum of 7% of salary, but only if the employee also contributes a 3% match from the employee. If we took all of that extra spending of the current Milford Council and keep in mind, those are just a few examples, that we could fund the needed renovations for our new fire station. And the next time our firefighters need to train young men yearning to help keep Milford safe, they'll have enough room and supplies to do it. As all of you know, I grew up here, playing in Central Park, and as I grew older, I noticed that kids still came to Central Park, but for quite different reasons than young children. It's a well-known and accepted fact that teenagers deal and do drugs in the upper parking lot of Central Park. This doesn't make sense considering the playground is obviously for children to come and have a good time, especially with our new playground recently funded by all of you wonderful people. Why in the world is this place being overtaken by teenagers and their dense decisions? This question I cannot answer. I've never drank or done drugs, seeing as how I believe it's an unnecessary and reckless decision. I have seen what drugs can do to a person. My very best friend growing up hit 14 and started smoking pot and drinking. Even at that age, I was scared to death of drugs, and when she told me what she was doing, I was horrified. I would always see her hanging out in Central Park, smoking, and just generally being irresponsible and careless. Now, I understand that most kids have a rebellious streak in which they experiment, but my friend took it way too far, and ultimately, she ended up accidentally killing herself. I know that there's no way to stop kids from doing drugs, but I believe that there is something we can do to help it become less prevalent, especially in the place where your children play. The security at Central Park at night is basically non-existent, and I push that needs to change. On average, 3 illegal drug exchanges happen every night in Central Park. Also, every year when the police bring the dogs into the high school to look for drugs, on average 7 students are expelled for the illegal substances on their lockers or on their person. We need policemen patrolling the park after it's dark, and we need greater consequences for the kids caught with illegal substances or who are intoxicated. Right now, they're only slapped on the hand and given a warning. This will not do. It cannot. If there are no consequences, then more and more of your children will be susceptible to this outrageous activity. I cannot stand by and watch kids ruin their lives with drugs, and I cannot let it happen in a place where our kids and innocence should rule. I want to be able to take my children to the same park that I grew up in and not have to shield them from older kids doing drugs. So let's start making that happen. Let's start getting these kids into real trouble for their actions. And let's start making Milford a safer place for your children and for all the children of the future. Thank you once again for listening to me today, and I hope that I have made you realize that I am the right person for this job as councilman despite my youth. You all are wonderful people, and I know that you will do the right thing and vote for someone who knows Milford, has grown up in Milford, and has a vision for what Milford can become in its greatest hour.